Good morning, students. This class, we are going to discuss in the microprocessor the architecture of 8086. Already in the pin diagram, we have seen the general specification. So it is a 16-bit microprocessor. It has 20-bit address and can access 2 power 20, that is 1 MB memory locations. It can support up to 64K IO port. It provides 16-bit registers. It has multiplex address and data bus AD0, AD0 to AD15 and A16 to A19. So it requires a single phase clock with 33%, that is 1/3, providing the internal timing. It has two modes. One is a minimum mode and a maximum mode. Already we have seen what are the pins supported for minimum and maximum mode. Then it requires 5-volt power supply, etc. Okay, now the architecture of 8086 is divided into two independent functional units. So one is called the bus interface unit and another one is the execution unit. The bus interface unit is called the BIU, bus interface unit, and the execution unit is called the EU, execution unit. Now, so this is the execution unit and this one is the bus interface unit. Let us see the architecture diagram. Right. So this is the block diagram of 8086. So the first unit is a bus interface unit. Okay. Then the second unit is a execution unit. So let us see what are the components available in BIU and EU. First, so what is the use of the BIU? The operations of the bus interface unit. So it fetches the instruction or the data from the memory. That is the instruction fetching or data fetching. Then reading and writing data from the memory or the port. There is a write data to the port, read data from the port. Similarly, write data to memory and read data to memory. Now, let us see the bus interface unit. Okay. The bus interface unit consists of the code segment, that is CS. So this is the 8086 memory. The memory is a 1 MB. So and each segment has a 64K. So first one is a code segment. So this is the code segment, and the second one is a data segment. So data segment, then stack segment. This is the stack segment, and ES, extra segment. So code segment, stack segment, data segment, and extra segment, and also includes the instruction pointer. Now, so first one is a code segment. The processor uses the code segment for all accesses to instruction referenced by the instruction pointer. So it points to the starting address of the code segment. The code segment register cannot be changed directly. The code segment register automatically updated during the for jump, for call, and for return instructions. So this is the use of the code segment register. Then data segment register. So the data segment register points to the starting address of the data segment. So starting address of the data segment, and its capacity may be 64 bytes. So each segment has the 64 byte, and the starting address is divisible by 16. Here the processor assumes that all the data referenced by the general registers under the code segment, that is the AX, BX, CX, DX, and index registers SI and DI is located in the data segments. So that is the use of the data segments. Then next, extra segment. The processor assumes that DI register references the ES segment in the string manipulation instruction. So extra segment in which the processor assumes that the DI register references ES segment in string manipulation functions. So it is possible to change default segment used by the general index register by prefixing the instructions with CS, SS, DS, and EX. Then stack segment register. So the stack segment register. So this stack segment register is used to compute the address of the stack location to be accessed. And then it also includes the instruction pointer. The instruction pointer is a 16-bit length and identifies the location of the next word of the instruction code to be fetched from the current code segment of the memory. Okay, that is, it points to the address of the next instruction to be executed. So this is the instruction pointer. Then let me come to the execution unit. Okay, here we see what are the various functions of the execution units. The execution unit is responsible for decoding and executing the instructions. The execution unit performs the arithmetic, logic, and shift operations required by an instruction. The execution unit consists of ALU, status and control flags, general purpose registers, and temporary operand registers. That is, the EU contains the control circuit to perform the various internal operations. Then it decodes the instruction fetched from the memory to generate different internal or external control signals. Then it requires to perform the operations. Then it has 16-bit ALU, which can be performed arithmetic and logical operations. The operations on 8-bit as well as 16-bit. Both we can use in the 8086 by the execution unit. And the execution consists of 8-bit registers. So AH, AL, which is a accumulator. So 8-bit, 8-bit. So 16-bit means we call it is a AX register. So each register can be used as a 16-bit, that is the AX. Then base registers are 8 bits are VHBL. Then for 16-bit we use as a VX. So base register, then count registers CX, that is for 8-bit CH, CL, and then the data register for 8 bits DH and DL. For 16-bit we call DX register, and then two pointer. So there one is a stack pointer and another one is a base pointer. The stack pointer is a 16-bit pointer to the stack segment, and the base pointer are used to access the data in the stack segment. Then there are two index register. One is a source index, another one is a destination index. The source index is a 16-bit register and is used in string manipulation instructions. Similarly, the destination register is a 16-bit register which is used in string manipulation instructions. So the SI and DI have auto increment and decrement capabilities. So this is the registers of 8086. So AX, BX, CX, DX are general registers, and SI, DI are index registers, then BP, SP are pointers, then segment registers, code segment, data segment, then stack segment, and extra segments, and then the instruction pointers, and then the flag registers. Then, so already we have seen all these things, okay, except that flag registers. Now let me see what is a flag register. The flag register determines the current state of the processor. They are automatically modified by the CPU after the mathematical operations. So this allows to determine the type of the result and to determine the conditions to transfer control to the other part of the program. So generally we cannot access these registers direct. Let us see. So it is a 16-bit registers, okay. Then it has 9 of the 16s are active flags and 7s are undefined. So U specifies the undefined. Here 2, 4, so 5, 6, 7. These are the undefined, and a 6 flag indicates condition status. So it is called the status flags, and 3 flags are control flags. Let us see one by one. First one is the carry flag. The carry flag is set if there is a carry out or borrow in for the most significant bit of the result during the execution of a arithmetic instruction. Otherwise, this is reset. Okay. So this is set if there is a carry or a borrow for the most significant bit of the result during the execution of an arithmetic instruction. Otherwise, what happens? This is resets. The next one is a parity flag, PF, parity flag. This flag is set if the result produced by the instruction have even parity. That is, it contains the even number of bits at logic level 1. If the parity is odd, then it is resets. Okay. If it is a even, then it sets. If the parity is a odd number of 1, then it resets. The next one is a auxiliary carry. The auxiliary carry is set if there is a carry out from the low nibble into high nibble, or a borrow from the high nibble into low nibble of the lower byte in a 16-bit word. Otherwise, it is resets. Then zero flag. The zero flag is set if the result of an arithmetic or logical operation is 0. Otherwise, it is resets. Okay, it's set the arithmetic or logical operation is a 0. Otherwise, it's resets. The next one is a signed flag. The most significant bit of the result is copied into the sign flag. Hence, the sign flag is set if the result is a negative number, or reset if it is a positive. Okay, if the result is a negative, then set. If it is a positive, means it will reset. And then overflow, that is the off. When the overflow flag is set, it indicates that signed result is out of range. If the result is not out of range, then this flag is set to this flag is remains reset. Okay, and there are other three control flags. Okay, so they are the trap flag and direction flag and interrupt flag. Okay, first one is a trap flag. The trap flag is set, that is the 8088 goes into single step mode of the operation. Then the interrupt flag, for 8088 to recognize maskable interrupt request at its INT. That is input, the if flag must be set. When the if is reset, the request at INT are ignored and maskable interrupt interface is disabled. So that is the use of the if. And then the direct flag. The logic level of direct flag determines the direction in which the string operations will occur. When it is set, the string instruction automatically decremented the address. It is reset, the string address to be incremented. That is, the data transfer proceed from the high address. So these are the various 8086 flags. Then the EU also contains the arithmetic and logic unit. The arithmetic and logic unit represent the fundamental building block of the central processing unit of the computer. And ALU is a digital circuit used to perform the arithmetic and logical operations. So this is the architecture of the 8086.